Hi everyone, and welcome to Entertainment Weekly's What to Watch, the show where EW staff help you solve your viewing dilemmas. I'm your host, Gerrad Hall, and I am currently watching the lovely faces of my coworkers and friends, digital news writer Tyler Aquilina, senior writer Samantha Highfill, and critic Leah Greenblatt. Hello, and welcome to all of you. How are you?
Good. How are
Gerrad.
you?
Doing very well, thanks. All right, you guys, this week, if you're a fan of chess, you just may have met your match. Netflix is pulling out all of its pieces for the new series, The Queen's Gambit. Based on the novel of the same name, the series follows a young girl on her journey from child prodigy to a chess grandmaster. But she's no pawn. She's actress Anya Taylor-Joy, who's been a queen on the rise over the past few years. Tyler, tell us, is this a surefire hit for Netflix, or can we expect a stalemate?
I'll be interested to see how other people react. I mean, this is not what you might call a feel-good show. It deals with a lot of heavy subjects like addiction. Anya Taylor-Joy's character is an orphan. But, it is very entertaining. It kind of moves at a pretty fast clip. There's a lot packed into every episode. So, I think that people will enjoy it, but, there may be a little bit of a mixed response. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I totally hear you there. I went into it thinking, this is going to be so boring, right? But it's not actually, and we'll kind of unpack more of that in a minute because I want to talk more about Anya first. Really, the entire series, I think, rests on her because it's just so much of her. Do you think this really kind of solidifies her star status?
Absolutely, yeah. As you say, there's a lot to like about this show, but her performance is really the glue that holds it together. There's so much with her face, and she does a lot without necessarily having a lot of dialogue at times. It's a very physical performance. She does a lot because she portrays the character at various ages, as she is growing up, and she does a lot of little physical things to kind of help convey that are very subtle and very well done. I think this will absolutely, if there's any justice, get her some awards attention come next year.
On paper, let's talk about the chess scenes here. Sure. It doesn't seem like the most exhilarating of concepts to base, we've seen movies about it, but to base an entire series on chess. So how does The Queen's Gambit make up for that?
It has kind of a sports movie kind of energy in that they focus really on the emotional stakes of the games and help you understand those more so than, focusing on like the intricacies of the game itself, which I think helps. There's at least a couple of games where they're not really on the board a lot. They're just focusing on the faces of Anya and whoever her opponent is. So it is really involving, and they give you like just enough information to understand kind of how the game works, but, just enough to get you invested and, you're in.
All right, thanks, Tyler. Moving on, this week sees writer-producer David E. Kelley reuniting with his Big Little Lies star Nicole Kidman in The Undoing, a project far removed from the shores of Monterey, taking place on the luxurious island of Manhattan. Sam, will fans of Big Little Lies who want more Kidman in this sort of role be happy?
I think yes and no. I mean, it's another David E. Kelley show. It's, another mystery. There's a thriller aspect to it. But she's very, Grace, which is her character in The Undoing, is not quite Celeste. I mean, I don't know if people literally want another Celeste. I'm kind of cool not getting one. But she definitely, I think the biggest difference is Big Little Lies. I think what a lot of people loved about it was that group of women and like watching them kind of come together. And she does have female friends in The Undoing, but it feels like much more of a solo journey of kind of watching her figure out a scandal and what her role might have been in it, what her husband's role might have been in it. If you straight up just want more Nicole Kidman, then this is perfect for you because it is a lot of her, At one point, it's like a real close-up on her eyeball. So, like, you get in there. You get some Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, this mystery is so layered and complicated. And each episode, I kind of got mad that at the end of each episode that it was the end because I wanted more.
Yeah, I mean, they set it up beautifully, I think. the whole groundwork of it is Nicole, she's married to Hugh Grant, which love. They send their kid to a very expensive Upper East Side prep school. And so when one of the parents at
with some financial help from dad.
Yes, Donald Sutherland, who's like, I always think is evil. So it's very interesting to watch him in this role.
Right.
But basically, there's a parent at that school who shows up dead, which not great. So they kind of have to unravel, this murder. And they do a beautiful job of slowly kind of untangling this web. So at the end of every episode, you are dying for the next one.
Yeah, and which is why I don't know how you feel. I would recommend watching it week to week. Don't wait for it to be done and then binge. It's kind of event television in that way, which we've been lacking a bit of lately.
Absolutely. And it's also only 6 episodes, which I personally whenever I binge something that's 6 episodes, I feel a little sad inside because it's over for me in one sitting. So I think, it's so well paced and they're so methodical in how they pace it out. And it's only 6 hours. So I think part of the fun is going to be the wait for the next episode.
All right, you guys, we need to take a quick break. But when we return, Leah's talking the Borat sequel. And before I try to do a bad impression, let me just say we'll be right back. Stay tuned, my wife. Welcome back to What to Watch. I hope your break was very nice. October is a great month for Sasha Baron Cohen fans. Last week we discussed the trial of the Chicago 7, starring the very talented satirist. Today we're getting another hit of SBC, we'll call him, with the only recently announced sequel to his beloved film Borat. This one aptly titled Borat Subsequent Movie Film Delivery of Prodigious Bribe to American Regime for Make Benefit Once Glorious Nation of Kazakhstan. The sequel has been a long time coming. It's been 14 years since the first Borat film came out, and a lot has changed. In true 2020 fashion, the film covers the upcoming election, COVID-19, Trump, and more. Borat has also grown up a bit. This time he visits the US with his daughter in tow. So, Leah, sequels don't always make the mark, but this one is getting some glowing reviews already. What can fans expect?
This is a thing that weirdly you'd think it might not have been possible to make a sequel because he's too recognizable. And the entire premise of Borat is him getting away with not being Sasha Baron Cohen recognizably. But, there's still a whole universe of people who don't know who he is. So that seems to be what he's leaning on in this one. He goes, he shelters against COVID with some new friends that he makes. He very famously, we're all anticipating a Mike Pence moment when he went to a speech and apparently waited 5 hours in the men's room to do it at this venue in a fat suit.
He commits. I mean, he fully commits.
He commits. He also, we should say, revisits the mankini. So if you missed that, it's back.
He says a lot of things that are very wrong, very un-PC, but in doing so reveals kind of the truths that are happening all around us on a daily basis, right? I mean, that's really, I think, kind of his bigger point here.
Yeah, and I think it's something he's able to do in part because he's not American. He's a British comedian who's lived in LA now for a long time. I think he has a great fondness for America, but he also is able to kind of bring a perspective that maybe we lack. But mostly I'm just interested because I really enjoyed him in Trials of the Chicago 7. I think he was one of the best parts of that movie, and that was a part that was so different for him and has all this awards buzz now. So I'm kind of enjoying the Sasha of 2020 in general.
Yep. Could not agree more. All right, that said, last question here, and I'm posing it to all of you. Sasha Baron Cohen has created over the years some very beloved characters. So what is your favorite Sasha Baron Cohen performance, character, moment.
You know, I would echo what Leah said about Trial of the Chicago 7. I just watched that this past weekend, and he really does give a great performance in that and shows that, you know, he may well have some more kind of underutilized depths as an actor. You know, clearly he commits to any part that he undertakes. So it'll be great to maybe see him do more dramatic stuff like that in the future.
I have an older brother who was my leeway into Sasha Baron Cohen everything. And he was a big Ali G fan. So I kind of I think Ali G, if I had to choose, especially back then, Ali G was my top one. But I mean, I love them all. The man can do no wrong in my eyes.
I have no idea when this actually aired. I believe it's probably 20 years old, but I found it on YouTube. It is Ali G in character interviewing Posh Spice and David Beckham. And it's, I think, about 20 minutes long. And it is first of all, it's a perfect time capsule, but it is so obscene and they go along with it for almost the entire ride. And it's a thing that no celebrity would agree to, I think, at this point. But back then, there was a lot more you could get away with. And God bless him for that.
All right, I want to thank Tyler, Leah, and Sam, and I want to thank all of you for watching. We'll see you next week on What to Watch.